The Curse of the Crimson Moon. I had always been fascinated by the legends surrounding the small town of Lysander. Nestled deep within the mountains, it was a place where time seemed to stand still, and the modern world had barely left a mark. But what drew me to Lysander was not its picturesque charm, but a legend that spoke of a curse that befell the town every Halloween under the crimson moon. The legend said that once every century, on a Halloween night, the moon would turn a deep shade of crimson. On this night, the spirits of Lysander's ancestors would rise from their graves, seeking to claim the souls of the living. As a writer with a penchant for the supernatural, I couldn't resist the allure of such a tale. And as luck would have it, this year was the centennial occurrence of the crimson moon. I packed my bags and made my way to Lysander, hoping to witness the legend firsthand and perhaps pen a story that would be my magnum opus. Upon arriving, I was greeted by the town's quaint charm. Cobblestone streets, old-fashioned lampposts, and houses that looked like they belonged in a bygone era. The townsfolk were friendly, albeit a bit wary when I mentioned my reason for visiting. As Halloween approached, a palpable tension hung in the air. The townspeople began to prepare, drawing protective symbols on their doors, lighting lanterns, and reciting prayers. I was told to stay indoors on Halloween night and to keep my windows and doors locked. But I was not one to heed warnings, especially when a once-in-a-lifetime event was on the horizon. On Halloween night, I made my way to the town cemetery, hoping to catch a glimpse of the spirits that were said to rise. The night was still, the only sound being the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. As midnight approached, I looked up at the sky. True to the legend, the moon had taken on a deep crimson hue, casting an eerie glow over the town. And then, it began. From the graves, ghostly apparitions began to rise. They were translucent, their forms shimmering in the moonlight. They looked like the townsfolk, but their eyes were hollow, and their expressions were of anguish and despair. I hid behind a tombstone, my heart racing. The spirits began to move towards the town, their moans echoing in the stillness of the night. I followed at a distance, curiosity getting the better of my fear. The spirits made their way to the houses, trying to enter. But the protective symbols kept them at bay, their anguished cries growing louder. But not all were kept out. Houses that lacked the symbols saw the spirits enter, their inhabitants' screams piercing the night. I watched in horror as the spirits claimed the souls of the living, their bodies going limp, their eyes turning the same hollow shade as the spirits. The town was in chaos, with those still alive trying to fend off the spirits or hide. In the midst of the pandemonium, a spirit noticed me. It was a woman, her dress tattered, her face a mask of sorrow. She reached out to me, her fingers cold as ice. I tried to pull away, but her grip was strong. I felt a chill run through me, my vision blurring. And then, a bright light pierced the darkness. From the town's church, a bell began to toll. The sound was deafening, echoing throughout the town. The spirits began to wail, the light and sound causing them pain. One by one, they began to dissipate, returning to their graves. The woman's grip on me loosened, and she looked at me with sad eyes before vanishing into the ether. The bell continued to toll until the first light of dawn broke, the crimson moon fading from the sky. The town was in ruins. Many had lost their lives, their bodies lying in the streets, their souls claimed by the spirits. Those who survived were in shock, the events of the night too horrifying to comprehend. I left Lysander the next day, the weight of what I had witnessed heavy on my shoulders. I penned the story, but it was met with skepticism. Many believed it to be a work of fiction, a tale spun from my imagination. But I know the truth. And every time I look up at the moon, I'm reminded of that fateful night in Lysander, the night the spirits rose under the crimson moon. And I pray that I never have to witness such horror again.